Welcome to Revelstoke Responders. I'm joined by Jill and Joel. Thank you for coming on today.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
You two are paramedics in Revelstoke with BC Ambulance Services. How long have you been in Revelstoke?
I have been in Revelstoke for 16 years. I've been working on ambulance for 14 years, 15 years coming up this January. Yeah.
For me, I'm going on my third year of being in Revelstoke, and I've worked as a paramedic for going on 10 years. Just kind of hopped around BC prior to that.
Yeah. So where did you start?
I started in Prince Rupert.
Oh, okay.
BC, Northern BC, which was wonderful, like absolutely beautiful. Definitely eye-opening for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you were saying earlier you started at 19 as well. So
Yeah. Pretty eye-opening thing to start at 19. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant station, but age.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
19.
Oh,
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Pretty much. Yeah. I took
Exactly.
like a couple years and then jumped into it.
So right out of high school, you joined ambulance. So what's the training like if you want to take that journey?
I guess like we should probably both speak to it because I think it's different
Right.
for
Mhm.
both of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start. I did my training in Alberta. So for me, I didn't start right on ambulance. I was started as a ski patroller. So I started, I guess my training first off was wilderness first aid. So I took like an 80-hour wilderness first aid course, started ski patrolling at Nakiska, and it's pretty blown away by all the trauma there and like how much I was like feeling I didn't know. So then I went and took an EMR course through SAIT, and that felt like it prepared me a little bit more. And that's sort of where I started down the EMS path, was with my EMR. And then from there, a couple years later, I went and took what in Alberta they call EMT. So I did that through SAIT as well. And then a couple years later, I went and took my EMTP, which is the equivalent to ACP training in BC.
Okay.
So I did it all through SAIT in Alberta. Yeah, so it took about like 4 years in total to do all that training, but for myself, it was broken up over more than 4 years.
Right. And
Yeah.
States, South Alberta Institute of Technology.
Yeah, Southern Alberta
Southern
Institute
Alberta.
of Technology. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's in Calgary. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, it was a great institution. And one girl that just started working here did her training at SAIT too, and she had instructors that I had like 20 years ago. So
amazing.
yeah, I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
What was your journey, Joel?
Pretty short and hot and heavy. In I want to say like 2014. I started actually a friend of mine cracked us at open longboarding. And then I told a friend of mine who had just finished the EMR program. And he suggested that like, oh, if you enjoyed helping him out and like working with the medics, like try the EMR program. So I did. I did that one, and that's about, at the time it was like 3 weeks, I think. Both of these courses I took through the Justice Institute of BC. And the way they're designed, which has since changed, but at the time it was pretty every day, 8 hours a day, go home to study for 4, and then do it again 7 days a week kind of thing. And so did the EMR program, and then about I think probably only a few months later, my friend who suggested that I do the EMR program, shout out to Tyler, who currently works in Kamloops. He suggested that we take the PCP program together, the primary care paramedic program. And so we did, and it was great. And it was about just under a year of similar kind of like high intensity, a lot of downloading of information in a very short period of time. And then right out to a practicum.
Nice. Did you have first aid experience previous?
No, not at all.
You just
None.
had that one incident and you're like, okay.
I was like, this seems fun. I also didn't realize that, I was diagnosed with ADHD, hence why I was kind of drawn to the calm and the chaos.
Right.
kinda-
Every day is
Mm.
different.
Yeah, every day's different. It's not as mundane as like my previous jobs of like building cabinets or something.
You don't have to sit behind too many desks anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've thrown around a few acronyms. So maybe we'll just keep it to BC for now. But within BC, what are sort of the steps of the paramedic system for someone who doesn't know the program?
Well,
I might be able to speak to that
Yeah.
a little bit better because like it's been 10 years and like I said, it's since changed, but yeah, it usually goes if you have some prerequisite of first responder training, OFA, something like that, then that would make you
Right.
applicable for the EMR program. And then after that, you are able to do the PCP program. And then if you're wanting to go to advanced life support or critical care, there's a bunch of prerequisites like psychology, pharmacology, pathology, stuff like that, that you can do online or through the JI as well. I did mine through Thompson River, and then that makes you eligible for application for the advanced life support program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think.
what level do you both sit at now?
I'm currently only PCP, not
Yeah.
only, but PCP.
Yeah.
And hopefully my training will for advanced life support will start in November.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, so I have an ACP license in BC as well, but because we're a BLS station, I work at a PCP level.
Okay.
So yeah, so I would say I'm a PCP also. Yeah.
So that's something different about Revelstoke. Is it a population size that kind of dictates the level of?
Sort of, like it's been it's just a different delivery model than in Alberta here. So when I moved here, it was just in urban centers that had like metro. I think metro and urban would be correct to say that they had ACP services there. But now they're rolling out PRUs, which are personal response units, to smaller areas. So there is an ACP response, but currently not in Revelstoke. Our nearest ACP response unit is in Salmon Arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just work by themselves, helping out the PCP crews whenever they're needed. So it sounds like they're just driving around a ton, like to like little stations around, helping out, like doing a great job, doing really good work. And we're just a little too far out of their response area to have them come here. Like I haven't ever been on a call that they've been able to come on. But that being said, we do have CCT fly in often, and they're a super amazing resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing them on scene once and being like, wow.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, like
They
it helps
are
that they fly in
badass.
helicopter.
Yeah, totally, right? Yeah. The slow motion.
For
There's
sure.
like
Yeah.
ice pouring out the doors as they get out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're all wearing aviators.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
It's great.
Before we get too deep into the paramedic side, why Revelstoke for both of you?
I mean, for me, it was strictly the snowpack.
Yeah, nice. Good answer.
Yeah, I moved here. I moved here from Alberta without having a job with BC Ambulance. Like I was employed by the city of Calgary as a paramedic before I moved here, and moved here thinking I'd just get a job as a ski patroller and then work on getting on with BC Ambulance. So yeah, that's what brought me here, and haven't really looked back.
Nice.
That's definitely part of it for me. Although I don't really have any ski patrol history, I just love snowboarding. Just a bit of a boarding bum. And I think like 5 years ago, I did like a little trip, trying to hit as many towns as I could. And I visited a friend in Revelstoke, and like just like the wholesome simplicity of the town itself, it being so small and like quaint, definitely drew me in. And then I had a POW day on the hill. And
Yeah.
that was enough.
Mhm.
So
You got to stop following these friends around.
yeah. Who knows where I'm gonna end up?
Yeah. So yeah, at summer activity, what's your go-to summer activities?
Oh, right now it's just dodging the heat.
Like
Yeah,
swimming.
true. Yeah.
Swimming. Yeah.
Lake swimming.
When we're not in this heat dome.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
just lots of beautiful spots just north of the dam out here. that like just endless adventure if you're into backpacking or kayak trips, anything like that. And then obviously biking and hiking as well. It's just like what is it? I think it's 6 or 5 national parks that surround Revelstoke. So if you're, outdoor inclined at all, this place is paradise.
Yeah.
And then for me as well, the music community is wonderful.
Okay.
I've really like met so many talented musicians in such a small place, which is surprising, but rad. And just
Yeah.
so yeah, just like the outdoors, the music community, the people, and this station's pretty great. Jill's all right. No, she's just the best. Yeah, all around, I think that this is one of my favorite stations I've ever worked at. Like holistically, just the quality of life and the work-life balance is wonderful here for sure.
Do you find the schedule working as a paramedic helps with the work-life balance?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
especially
mean,
here.
if you're, I mean, and it's we're sort of like a division here. Like you're either casual on call or you're full time, and being full time is amazing. Like you work 4 days on, 4 on, 4 off. So like 4 days off
Mhm.
every 8 days is amazing.
Yeah,
Leaves
Yeah.
lots of room for
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, as far as our on-call staff goes, like they kind of create their own schedule, but the nature of it is they often need to work a lot to make enough money. So, yeah,
right.
which is unfortunate.
And your 4 days on, is that 12-hour, 24-hour?
Yeah, 412s, 2 days, 2 nights.
Yeah.
2 days, 2 nights.
Yeah. So 6:30 to 6:30.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how many cars does Revelstoke have?
We have 2 cars. So we
cars.
have one car that responds out of the station. Like, so the crew is always at the station. And then there's another car that is responds by pager. So that's the
Okay.
on-call staff that
Gotcha.
have pagers, and then they'll come in when their pagers go off.
Nice. When does your 12 hours start and end?
6:30, 6:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Early morning.
Yeah. I'm
Or
a huge
late
fan.
night.
Yeah.
Is it varies station to station?
Yes. Some of them have like kind of staggered starts. If there's multiple cars, like say like 6, 6:30, 7, like 40 station 41 in Kelowna. Yeah, I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So here, I don't mind the 6:30 to 6:30. I kind of like the 6 to 6, to be honest.
The 6 to
But-
6.
Yeah.
I guess you have breakfast at the station and you don't have to kinda
Yeah.
roll out of bed and get to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just make sure to bring your coffee with you, because
Oh,
you never know
gosh.
what's going to happen
Yeah, of
as soon
course.
as you get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does sort of a day in the life, say you don't get a call right away when you show up to station, what does the first hour or 2 look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, like the first hour is you're just like doing shift change with the other crew. So they'll kind of like give you any heads up as to what happened the night before or day
Mhm.
before. Anything like weird going on with the cars or missing something. And then,
Front left wheel's gone. So
yeah, left the jump kit on the side of the
Yeah.
highway. Yeah. Stuff like that.
That never happens. What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
But like, so we figured out.
We just-
Uh,
a lot of
but then
patience.
we,
Yeah.
and then we sign in. So then dispatch knows what crew's working on that car, and there's like a bunch of important information, like your cell phone number, like the car cell phone number, and then you do a good car check to make sure you're not missing any vital
Yeah.
equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and then you check your emails, like do any courses you
Yeah.
need to do.
Yeah.
There's like some paperwork.
Right.
Yeah.
That would that would be one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is how much email work and paperwork goes into
Yeah.
being a
Right.
medic.
Yeah.
And my partner Kirk is very patient with how administratively illiterate I am.
Well, you prefaced it. You've got a bit of a, attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. But yeah, lots of pretty much right after car check, it's straight to emails or online courses. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
then we have of course, we have our station chores that we kind of get done because
Yeah.
gotta take care of
Keep
this
the
beautiful
station
place.
nice, because
Yeah.
we all spend a lot of time here. It's kind of like our second home.
Mhm.
So
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess continuous learning is something that is crucial in a world like this, right? So that's always something that people, I think, they just think you go to school and you just get it all hands-on the car, but really it's a lot of keeping up with all sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it seems like our
absolutely.
scope is always expanding,
Yep.
and they're always dropping new things on us, which is awesome. Like it's good. It's
Really,
good to
yeah.
keep you sharp and
Yeah.
and also just best patient care too, because
Absolutely. It's
Peop-
definitely
yeah.
sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no.
I was just gonna say it's definitely one of my favorite parts. I've learned it's become one of my favorite parts of the job is the continuous free learning, where
Yes.
we have access to so much. The all hail learning hub,
Yeah.
that is our oracle.
Yeah.
And whether it's a pediatric airway course or dealing more in depth. Sorry, that's my phone. Research on dealing with psychiatric patients and emergencies of that nature. It's just so much knowledge to just kind of soak in, and then also like reference to going back to. So yeah, lots of staying sharp and staying on it. If you're for the most part on it and like doing that.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that is one thing I really like about our employer is that we do have like a lot of access to online learning.
Mhm.
And great resources. And then we also have a practice educator that works in our zone that's super great and like comes out every month and will run a session on whatever our station sort of specifically wants. Like the last one we did was we got some new respiratory medications that, like we did the online learning, but he was able to facilitate some face-to-face learning. So just great, like a great resource to have for us here.
Yeah. To be able to apply it hands-on is
Yeah.
always
Absolutely,
such
yeah.
a bonus.
Yeah. And with someone who has, like more training and he's like specifically in that role. So he can put the time in to like deliver the training quite well.
Yeah.
Because we did that mutual department training,
Yes.
which was really great to kind of see
Yeah.
how everyone operates.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
stuff like that is so beneficial.
Absolutely. Closing a lot of gaps on like chains of command and how the patient treatment and patient pathway is gonna look amongst the different agencies. Like having that even happen as a resource is pretty wonderful, and having our community paramedic, who's great, Kiki, just facilitate that. And yeah.
I think Mike Tyson said it. Everybody has a plan to get punched in the face. So we all think, we have a good plan.
Exactly.
We show up to a car accident. You're like,
100%.
hang on a second. Who's doing what here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To practice that beforehand is good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Going back to training, if someone was interested, say, someone's still in high school and they're thinking about jumping into the paramedic line of work, what are some steps or pieces of advice you could offer them?
Well, this program has recently come back to BC Ambulance, the Riding Third program. So they can send an email to ridingthird@bcehs.ca and then they can ride third, which I think is super helpful because I mean, for myself, prior to getting hired on as a paramedic, like I thought it was, all high action, high intensity, which it is not. So, like to find that out, to actually experience that. And maybe your shift would be like that though. So that might, give you a different perspective, and it may or may not be for you doing that either. So, so I think the Riding Third program is great. And then you just can have like a whole day too of chatting with the crews and really diving deep into what the job is like. So I think that's a great way to start.
For sure, to see what it's like.
Yeah.
That's handy.
For sure.
Yeah.
I did co-op programs in university, and it was nice to get into the workforce while you're still in school, and you kind of get that idea of what a day in the life might be.
Definitely.
It's like, like you said, there's all these ambulances aren't jumping highway berms and burning rubber. Everyone's in the back holding on to something.
Sometimes you're just making a cup of tea.
Yeah.
The elderly. Any advice I would give would be definitely to tag on to what Jill is saying, try to get yourself some experience, whether it is riding third, whether it's like working as lifeguard, being the OFA on a work site, and really kind of like putting yourself in that situation, because until you get punched in the face, you don't know how you're gonna act.
That's super accurate.
And then
someone who maybe has been punched a few times.
It's just I have been punched in the face and it was shocking.
Oh no.
It happens.
Ready for it.
sometimes you literally might get punched in the
Yeah.
face while in
Right.
uniform. So gotta be ready for that too.
Yeah.
But and then personally, I would say, find number one, find a therapist, and what really gives you life and motivates your mental health in a positive direction, and yeah, just kind of like gets you through the storms of life. Figure out what that is for you, and like just stick to it, and figure out a way to manage that and continually incorporate that into your life while going down this path, because um,
Yeah.
it can be a lot.
Yeah.
Has a mental toll. So.
Yeah. Those are wise words, Joel. Yeah. Yeah. And funny to start a job thinking, oh, I'm going to need a therapist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
Hey,
true though. I
yeah.
mean, like, yeah, your mental health really does can take its toll with
Yeah.
this job. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
finding ways to be resilient
Yes.
prior,
for sure.
like, yeah, prior and during is super
Mhm.
super important. Yeah.
I've worked desk jobs where I've needed a therapist. So, I think in
Yeah.
all aspects of life, it's important. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
definitely in this one where it's so you're hands on with people kind of in their worst day. Right. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's definitely very important. Could I ask what you two find helpful to after a shift? What helps you kind of get back to
Yeah, for
your
sure.
day to day?
Yeah. I mean,
Try to think of something appropriate.
for myself, like it's exercise and nature, like those
Right.
two things. If I can combine the two of them, amazing. Yeah, like just being able to get some natural endorphins going,
Mhm.
and then like my family and friends too, like just knowing that they're there. Like I wouldn't necessarily talk about calls with them, but just knowing that I have like that support. Like I've got people who are watching me,
Mhm.
and they have my back, and if if I'm not acting appropriately, like they're the people that are going to notice that first and be like, hey, maybe you need some more help.
Mhm.
And then I can go find the help that I need, and it's readily available for us, which is
Absolutely.
super
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say it's the same thing, but with the addition of like music. But yeah, nature, exercise, music, and just trying to surround myself with like good people and good people who want the best for me and who will tell me when I need to take some time off, or if I don't recognize it, before they do. And yeah, I don't know, just talking to the right people. Sometimes you don't want to traumatize all your friends,
Mhm.
but and listening as well. I would be kind of a strange one, but I think it's important to have people in your life who aren't in this world, and whether they realize how mundane and silly their issues are, listen to them, because we don't really live and work in real life in a sense, right? Like
Right.
our skewed perception of what we see or our perception of what we see on the day to day could be a little bit skewed due to what we're exposed to. So listening to partners talk about the gossip from the office, sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, my life is a little different, but like, yeah,
Right.
there's normalcy out there. There's
Right,
other
yeah, yeah,
issues
yeah.
outside of this horrible, tragic, whatever. And so it kind of listening to those issues from my friends kind of helps me, kind of pulls me back to reality, and yeah, just not thinking about anything too much. But yeah.
Mhm.
No, it's an amazing perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, just kind of a
Mhm.
shift in perspective. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Have you found that this job has shifted your outside of work day-to-day life? Like, do you have a really cool first aid kit in your car, or do you look at things differently?
I definitely, this job has 100% shifted my
yeah,
my
for
perception
sure.
of
Absolutely. It's a great question.
of life.
Yeah.
For sure. Like to simply answer that about a first aid kit, no, I do not have a great first aid kit.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, I do have like quick access to gloves. Like
Gotcha.
I'm gonna have PPE on real quick should I need to help anybody. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that someone else comes along with a pretty robust first aid kit. But I mean, as far as like more like the point to the question, like I just think I have more compassion and kindness towards people, because with this job, like you do see people at their worst, and it's just given me more compassion towards people, which I think is really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo that as well. almost to a T because
Okay.
I didn't realize you also didn't have a great.
Oh, you thought I would.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought you would.
I'm like a planner.
Yeah. Your mom. You're more
Right. I mean, I got a lot of
responsible.
Band-Aids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
But-
go. But I really only have immediate access to like gloves in my car as well, which I will change eventually.
Yeah.
But I definitely, kind of if, for example, I'm just out hiking with some friends, like there is like the immediate what ifs and like categoric
Catastrophic.
or at least categorizing like the immediate sense of doing that when you're like contemplating what could happen, what could go wrong. Sorry, that took me a little forever to get to, but yeah, I guess what could go wrong. Like, okay, that's like a broken ankle, broken femur, we're this far out until phone reception. Then if there's an air resource available, at least that's how my mind is like kind of warped over the years. It's like I'm immediately thinking like what could go wrong, not in like a I'm not going to do it, not in an avoidant way, like I'm sending it no matter what.
Yeah.
But I just send it really informed now.
Right. Yeah.
I just kind of become that guy for my group friends where it's like, okay, guys, like, which is I never thought growing up I would be like, okay, this is a little dangerous. I
Right.
wouldn't be that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm like, that guy. I still let them do it, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anything. Like when you go backcountry skiing, you bring the shovel and probe, even
Yeah.
on days where you
Right.
know it's
Yeah.
low risk, right? You're just
Exactly.
always thinking about it. Never
Yeah.
hurts to be prepared.
Yeah. Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you look at things with a different eye where you're like, oh, that's too damn, I'm not going to do that? Has your caution level? I mean, you just said you send it,
yeah,
more than ever, but
yeah. I mean, to a degree, yeah. I think I definitely, if I'm away, like very, very far from help, then I'm a little more reserved. But other than that, yeah, I would say. And then definitely, I would like to echo the compassion too, with the amount of different, so many different walks of life that we see. What, like in the same day we can enter like a mansion and then be on the streets of or a creek or in the back alley literally in 4 hours. And so dealing with so many different demographics and walks of life, it's just like you never know what someone's going through. You don't know their story. And then how precious life is just in general.
Right.
Yeah,
is-
that's so true.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice, I don't know, kind of morbid, but it's
no, I agree.
but
yeah,
it's
you
like a
just never
constant,
know.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
honestly, you never know. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, make every day amazing if you can, to the best of your
Yeah.
Sending
ability.
it.
Keep sending it. That's
Yeah.
it. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, like we're attached to this major transit hub, right, where we do see those incidents, and roads are dangerous, and just as but then also healthy habits and stuff, which I don't know, in Revelstoke I feel like the misconception is like everyone in Revelstoke is quite healthy and like gets outside and is active, but that's not always the
Yeah.
case, and
No.
people are limited, and yeah, just being compassionate for what everyone is capable of doing and how they can go about their day. So yeah, no, it's a great perspective and really interesting points. Going back to, what is a misconception that you think people have about the ambulance service that
Personally, I feel like people struggle as to what to call us. Like we are not an ambulance. Like we are two people.
right
Paramedics. So yeah, if we're just called paramedics, like that's easy. Yeah, I've been called an ambulance too many times. We drive in the ambulance.
okay, but you're
Yeah.
not an ambulance.
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah.
It is shocking how many times people call
Right.
us just the ambulance, like
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
an ambulance.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Anything
gosh.
coming to mind, Joel?
Misconceptions. Maybe like, I don't know, off the top of her head or my head, it's not the safest job in general. We're definitely put in a lot of sketchy situations that it isn't public knowledge. What else?
or you see things in like TV shows, you know, you get Chicago Fire where the paramedics run into the fire without any, you know,
Yeah.
PPE on, and it's just like, that's not what you guys do at
Yeah.
all.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not at all. Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely try to mitigate as many hazards as we can, but there
Yeah.
are a lot of them on
Yeah.
quite a regular basis.
Yeah.
And that take a bit of like a spidey sense that we all have to develop.
Yeah.
Whether it's like trying to measure someone's affect appropriately when it comes to like, okay, are they going to start swinging immediately here?
Right.
Mhm.
Or if we're trying to like kind of just roll up to a scene and realize like, oh, we're actually working in an avalanche zone that we have to be mindful of, and it's not a closed road. So now we have so many things that we're thinking about in regards to like just safety for all the crews and everyone responding to those calls. Not just see the patient, plug the hole, let's go.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
no, I think that's a really fair point. Like we have lots of layers like that should be sort of protecting us, but they only get what information they get. And so yeah, it does take a while to do a good scene safety assessment.
Yeah.
And it takes experience, it takes common sense, it takes being in the right headspace.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
yeah, you could just because you've been doing the job for like a decade or something
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make the right decision. Like,
Yeah.
maybe your brand new partner would be like, "Oh, hey, this seems kind of dangerous," and then
Mhm.
you could just be like, "Yeah, oh yeah, you're right."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Working in Revelstoke, you mentioned sort of avalanche hazard.
Mhm.
How different is winter to summer calls? Are they like completely night and day, or is it, you know, you're always managing the environment around you as you deal with a patient? It's just cold or hot.
Mm.
I think like you're kind of just managing the patient really, but there are layers like not this winter, the previous winter, like before we can even leave the station, you had to put tire chains on the ambulance. And not every day, but like for the longest I've ever had to do it for, just due to snowpack. So like that's just a consideration. Like you're going to be taking longer to get to somebody. So that adds to the call right away there. And that's not something you'd have to do in the summer. Like you're always going to get there in the summer.
Right.
And then avalanche closures too. Like I've done a transfer before to Salmon Arm, and then the highway closed. And then the only way for us to get back to Revelstoke was to drive the Monashee Road to to the ferry and come back via Nakusp. And like, you know,
Right.
so winter does make things more challenging, I guess.
absolutely.
Yeah, and like
Yeah,
access
sure.
and egress to patients, residents, and stuff like that.
But yeah, and like just with the location of Revi having Rogers Pass on the east side and then Three Valley Gap on the west side, it's just like we're right in the middle of two sketchy bits of
Totally.
road. So it's definitely especially during the winter, there's a pretty big spike in like the 2 o'clock to 7 a.m. time where like a lot of the people are driving tired. There's black ice. We have our infamous corners
Yeah.
that a lot of the
Catch
folks
people.
who are
Yeah.
east don't really
Yeah.
used to navigating around the BC corners,
Right.
and, which leads to a bit of chaos there. But yeah, I would say definitely a spike in motor vehicle accidents during the winter.
Yes.
And then lots of extreme sports. I mean, on both ends, winter and summer, but definitely falling on rocks and roots while mountain biking or climbing is a little more costly than falling on snow for the most part. But
Yeah. I mean, I think winter and summer both provide their challenges, but perhaps winter being more challenging just because of the snow.
Yeah. And then in summer you just get people suffering from like heat exhaustion more frequently, or do you see that as often?
Not like, I guess we don't see that many people suffering from hypothermia. You don't see that many people suffering from heat exhaustion that call the ambulance, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. That being said, like that could change as climate change
For sure.
continues, you know, and like we have these hotter summers. But yeah.
And you know, we don't have a ton of like high density housing that is like skyscrapers, right? So like or that house a lot of elderly in those spots. So I think that kind of plays a factor into it. Whereas like if we live somewhere where there's a lot of care homes that are high rises, like that would be, you know, a bit of a factor, especially when we get into these heat domes where, you know, these people can be definitely affected by it in the higher apartments. But other than that, I've yet to respond to a heat exhaustion call or anything of that nature, because I think Revy does a pretty good job of, you know, just staying by the lake, keeping cold. And,
And I mean, I think too, being a smaller community, like I like to think people are kind of like looking out for each other a little
That
bit
too,
more,
for
you
sure,
know, like those people that might fall through the gaps in a bigger center have more eyes on them somewhere like Revelstoke,
Absolutely.
which is super awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you go mountain biking at 6 a.m. like I did this morning to,
Absolutely.
to beat the heat.
Yeah.
You got to get smart.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned you do transfer to Salmon Arm. What's the widest perimeter that you would do a call to?
So our call response area in Revelstoke goes to the end of the 23 North. So I think that's like 155 kilometers or something.
Okay.
And then we go to the ferry to the 23 South. Then we go to the summit of Rogers Pass to the east.
Yep.
And then we go to Enchanted Forest to the west.
Okay.
So that's our response zone.
Yep.
We do go beyond that for sure. But yeah, that's
the Revelstoke bubble.
That's the Revelstoke response zone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, going up to a call far up the 23 North, like you're deep.
Yeah.
You're far away from resources. You don't have any cell service. You don't
Yeah.
have radio communications. We have sat phones
Mm-hmm.
that we can use, and they have their challenges as well. Like they don't always don't always work wonderfully. So yeah, it can get pretty spicy, just you and your partner. Way up to 23 North.
Yeah. With your tire chains on.
Yep, exactly. Just
Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think would be a very good personality trait, or what are personality traits that you find successful in this profession?
I mean, typically, I think this profession attracts type A personalities. I don't think I am a type A personality though, so but that could just be my perception of myself, actually.
No, that's pretty spot on. I would say that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, I mean, just somebody who is like able to have a plan and execute it from start to finish and make sure it goes their way. Type A personality is common to the job, but not a requirement. And then I think like the biggest thing is someone who has common sense. Like
truly could not agree with you more.
Like,
it is shocking how uncommon that is.
Really the majority of what we have to do is just have some common sense. Like we've got a problem posed to us. Let's figure it out. We have these protocols that we can use as well. So our treatment guidelines. But so we like to be a good decision maker as well. And then to be able to perform well under pressure, because sometimes people just freeze, and then sometimes people freak out, and you can learn to sort of deal with those reactions as well. But sort of if you can perform well under pressure and stay calm, remember it's not your emergency.
There's like I guess like a minor level of like dissociation needed, I guess, to be able to function at and make critical decisions under high stress. So like if you have that trait, and like you said, a lot of type A's do, that's great. I would not describe myself as type A.
I would also totally agree with that. So
at all.
We have to be type A, but we're not.
So
right. Type A minus. Type A minus. Yeah.
But if you are B type with some type A tendencies, or like I said earlier, raging ADHD, or then definitely you can thrive in this role. And I think a huge trait for me, and for a lot of people who I like admire and want to adopt a lot of their practice into mine, would be like the ability to be introspective and reflect. Because like if you come at it with the attitude of, I've trained, I've done this, I know everything, I'm still doing all my online courses, like I know it, then like you're setting yourself up for failure. So being able to reflect on everything when it comes to not just like your patient care practice, but logistics and call management in general. Being able to like look at the bigger picture, be like, okay, I like what this medic did. I'm going to put that into my toolbox, and vice versa. And kind of, just having a good attitude of just being able to adapt, learn, reflect. I think you'll do pretty well. Absolutely. And being honest and vulnerable. A lot of this job, if you want to do it well, a lot of it is human connection. So being able to level with people and just like be real and meet people in the worst states they're in, and look them in the eye and make sure they don't feel judged or they don't feel worse than they already do, calling an ambulance, having a stranger be like, hey, what's going on? So yeah, just kind of like, exercising empathy would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, great answers. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I've got for now. I do have one question for both of you. If both of you could join another first responding department, what would it be?
I mean, like, I was already a ski patroller.
Yeah.
I think that's the best job in the world. So I just go back to that.
Yeah.
I don't tell Ross, but I would definitely do search and rescue. And in particular, like the air side of it.
Right.
I got the opportunity to work in Prince Rupert on the helicopter out there, and I really miss flying around BC and just helping people and that adrenaline rush of landing in like different random places. So definitely air search and rescue would be a draw
Cool.
for me.
Yeah.
I recently stumbled upon the Knowledge Network, and it has Life on the Line, the paramedic.
Oh.
Do you recommend people to watch that? Maybe is that do watch that first, then do Third in a Car?
To be honest, I've never watched it.
Oh, no.
I really haven't seen a full episode myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. Hey, that's honest.
We're living it.
Yeah. That's so fair. So
I've heard
fair.
good things.
Yeah.
Good things.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Based on the reviews I've heard, then it seems pretty spot on.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you so much for both of your time. Looks like you need to be able to laugh easily too. That's crucial.
For sure.
Yeah.
Having a good solid sense of humor.
Good sense of humor.
100%.
Yeah. Great. Any last words before we sign off?
I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's a great career. Like, I absolutely love this career, and I think it's afforded me so much in regards to my outlook on life and work-life balance. So yeah, I love it.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same here. It's the best job I've ever had by far. When it comes to quality of life and time scheduling, getting time off, but also like challenging and kind of like definitely room for growth in all aspects. And it's helped me grow not only with my outlook on life, but just like as a communicator and as an adult, because I started this quite young at 19. So definitely lots of life lessons, even within the job and within the human connection, and traveling BC as well. Love it. Absolutely love it. So
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks,
thank
Kyle.
you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the opportunity.
Awesome.
So welcome to the office. So this is what the back of an ambulance looks like. This is typically where we're going to be treating and talking to patients, right on the stretcher here. Above them, you're going to see some minor wound care, some extra equipment for straps, bags, stuff like that. We try not to leave a lot of stuff that we need all the time right in front of the patient's head. Yeah, so up to the top left here, you're going to see our IV equipment, our medication as well. And then if we have a patient who is, in his respiratory system is compromised, Right here is the airway seats where all of our airway equipment sits, suction, BVM, our eye gels, breathing tubes, stuff like that. Back there, oxygen compartment. Right up here, all of our oxygen masks as well, and a bit more of PPE. For example, if we're trying to put a tube in or anything, we're going to need some PPE to avoid any sort of airborne illnesses and transmission like that. Right in the mesh net here, here is the jump kit, suction, just the regular things we take on calls that the attendant will hop out. That's the first door they're opening, and I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, all of our kits and AD, stuff like that. Okay, we have gloves, a bit more PPE right behind me as well in this cabinet. And yeah, it's a little confined. It can get a little hectic in here if we have a call that is of high acuity in nature, and we have maybe multiple agencies in the back here working on one patient. It can get a little hectic, so we have these bars up here that we hold on to, and we try to have 3 points of contact when trying to do any sort of treatment in a moving vehicle, you know, pretty much just confined metal box screaming down the highway. So yeah, try to be as safe as humanly possible and avoid doing any treatments if we can avoid it while we are screaming down the highway at any capacity. Couple smaller ones here just for some vitals equipment, some extra IV equipment, stuff like that, and just, yeah, basic vitals and stuff like that, just to have easy, quick access. And that is the back of the ambulance and what we spend a lot of the time in here.